A town of 30,000 people disappeared in less than a decade, and the company that built it didn't break a single law. What you're about to see is the financial blueprint of how industrial empires extracted wealth from geography itself. Not just resources, entire communities. They built towns from scratch, owned every structure, every store, every paycheck, and when the economics shifted, they walked away. The cash flowed in one direction. Here's the trick, it was all perfectly legal. Exhibit 1, Pullman, Illinois. In 1880, railroad magnate George Pullman didn't just build a factory. He constructed an entire town, 6,000 residents, all working for him, all renting from him. The company owned the land, the homes, the water system, the gas lines, the stores. Workers couldn't buy property. They couldn't own anything beneath their feet. Why build a town instead of just a factory? Control. Pullman paid wages low enough that workers needed company housing. Rent was deducted from paychecks automatically. Workers bought from company stores, prices marked up 20 to 30% above market rate. The company recaptured its wage payments before workers ever left the property. Exhibit 2, the debt trap. A worker earning $1.50 a day faced rent of $4.50 per month for a small cottage. That's 3 days' wages just for shelter. Coal for winter cost extra. Company store bread cost more than in nearby towns. Workers fell behind. Year after year, they owed the company money. They couldn't leave, they had outstanding debts. The town was a financial machine that converted labor into recurring revenue. This model replicated across America. Timber towns in the Pacific Northwest, coal towns in Appalachia, mining camps in the Southwest, copper towns in Michigan. Each one followed the same economic logic: isolate workers geographically, own the infrastructure, control prices, extract maximum profit from captive labor. The company town wasn't a benefit, it was a business model. Exhibit 3, the collapse. By 1893, the Pullman Strike erupted. Workers demanded wage increases and lower rent. Pullman refused. The company cut wages 25% but didn't lower rent. Workers organized. Federal troops arrived. Strikers clashed with soldiers. Several people died. The strike failed. But it cracked the illusion that company towns were communities. They were extraction machines. What happened next reveals the end game. After the strike, Pullman's reputation suffered. Reformers and journalists attacked the model. By the early 1900s, Pullman began selling off houses to workers, not out of kindness, but because the political cost of owning a town had risen. The company pivoted. It kept the factory, shed the liability, and pocketed the real estate sales. But the larger towns, the ones built around a single resource, faced a different fate. Exhibit 4, what happens when the resource runs out? Timber camps disappeared when forests were clear-cut. Coal towns shrank when seams depleted or markets shifted. Mining camps emptied when ore prices collapsed. The company didn't need to stay. The profit was gone. Infrastructure became worthless. Workers were left behind. Take Butte, Montana. In 1880, it was a copper boom town of 100,000 people, one of the largest cities west of the Mississippi. The Anaconda Copper Mining Company owned it. Every major business, the newspaper, the utilities, the political machine. The company extracted copper and wealth simultaneously. Then in the 1980s, copper prices fell and mining operations scaled back. The company left. Today, Butte's population is around 30,000. The abandoned mining shafts remain. The company extracted the copper, extracted the wealth, extracted the jobs, and left behind environmental contamination and a hollowed-out economy. The residents who stayed inherited a geography shaped entirely by corporate extraction. They own homes in a landscape the company abandoned. Exhibit 5, the pattern repeats. Appalachian coal towns face this reality now. As coal demand declines, companies have already extracted the coal and the profit. What remains? Debt-burdened communities, environmental damage, limited economic alternatives. The company towns worked exactly as designed. They converted geographic resources and labor into corporate wealth. The fact that people lived there was secondary to the financial model. Here's what made it legal. The company owned the land. They could set prices, control labor, structure debt however they wanted. There were no labor laws, no minimum wage, no regulations on company store markups. The system was perfectly rational from a profit perspective. Maximize extraction, minimize costs, capture the surplus, move on. Some company towns survived. Those built near permanent resources or diversified industries adapted. But the single resource towns, the ones dependent on a finite resource or volatile commodity, followed a predictable arc. Boom, extraction, decline, abandonment. The company's profit curve and the town's survival curve diverged. One went up, the other collapsed. The company town model doesn't exist in the same form today, but the logic persists. Tech campuses in Silicon Valley offer free meals, housing subsidies, and company transportation, creating geographic dependency. Workers in isolated facilities depend on a single employer for wages and services. The infrastructure of control has changed. The economics remain similar. What's crucial to understand, company towns weren't failures. They succeeded perfectly at what they were designed to do: concentrate wealth and extract maximum profit from geography and labor. The towns themselves were collateral damage. Shareholders benefited. Communities paid the cost. The accounting worked beautifully, at least for the company. This is what happened to Pullman, Butte, and hundreds of other towns across America. They were built as profit centers, operated as extraction machines, and abandoned when the economics shifted. The residents stayed because they had nowhere else to go. The company moved capital to the next opportunity. That's how the money actually flowed. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe so you don't miss the next financial forensics investigation, where the money went and who paid the real cost. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.